Yeah. Hi Shri. This is Vinay here. Do you have any questions before we proceed? So last time, like we had discussed about the safe user exits, the hub user exit and the IDD user exit, whatever the methods in that, and how to do that. So today I will show you one practically demo like of the same like whatever we have discussed. So for the IDD user exits, we just go through it once again. What were the methods? You don't have one. So in IDD, basically we have seen that there are two main things. Open handler is there and the save handler. Open handler is the one where you want that once you open a particular record, at that time you want to make some changes to the data. So that you can use in the open handler, and there is also a save handler. While saving the data, if you want to make any changes to the data, that you can do using the save handler. So today I will show you one like example for the open handler and the same scenario that we discussed. So two things we had discussed about the IDD user exit. First is like the open handler. That in the open handler, like we use in the scenarios where we are allowing people to update the records from the back means from the IDD application. So in this case, what happens? Like for example, I have a using some primary key like customer ID I'm using as a primary key, or customer name I'm using as a primary key, or any combination as a primary key. In this case, if any user goes and tries to edit a record, he should not edit the primary key columns, the customer ID column, or any other column that I'm going to use as the primary key. So if we are using MDM, MDM has a mapping from where it can understand that, okay, oh, this is the primary key. So if primary key changes, basically it creates a new record. Otherwise, if you update some specific column, it will just go and update the record. So from IDD, it doesn't use a mapping, so it doesn't know what is the primary key. So whenever we are going and making any changes, we should ensure that the user is not updating the PK source object column or the primary key columns. So this is the SDK basically that we had discussed previously, and in this, these are the two ones. Basically, these are basically 4 or 5 are there which are main, but most of them we used like on open operation plugin and iSave operation plugin. These are the two things which we use generally. And the main 5 that we had discussed are like these one, starting from I merge operation plugin, I open operation, I save operation, I send for operation, and I task operation plugin. So these are the 5 things for which anyone can generally write a customized code for the user exits. So I'll just show you from the Eclipse. So this is an open handler that I have written here, and in the open handler, basically this is the class name that I have used, public class open handler. We can use any name here. And implements, this is the class which it has to extend. which has all the methods and implements IOperation plugin. So this is basically the syntax. If you want to use the operation plugin, we have to use it like this. And then under this, we get this method automatically, get operation type. So using this operation type, we can return whether we are trying to insert the record or update the record or delete the record. And then after that, we are initializing the class here. And under the class, like many things are happening, but main thing is that we are getting a connection here. So connection parameters is coming here. All the username, password, ORS ID, everything is getting here. And that is coming from the client, basically Swift client that we have initialized. So on the in the import statement, we have the Swift client which is initialized here. So based on the Swift client, it will automatically take all the means. Here we don't need to, for example, like so when we had discussed about the Swift, basically where we saw the GET request, where we have fired the GET request, PUT request, and other requests. At that time, we had specifically used a property file where we have specified that what is the ORS details. But in this case, when you are using a user exit, you don't need those things because it automatically takes us from the environment. So from whichever environment or whichever ORS we put this and try to run it, it will take the connection details and parameters from that particular ORS and try to execute it. So in this small condition is written here that if VDD is not created, means we are trying to update the VDD record or we are trying to do any other thing. In this case, first it checks that if the VDD object name is customer. So this is basically the subject area name. My subject area name is customer. So if the VDD object dot get object name dot equals customer, then what we are doing is we are setting the columns as read only. So for example, like we are using the first name and the last name column as a primary key. So what we are doing is we are making the first name column and the last name column as read only here. So this is what this user exit is doing. So once you have written this code, this is only for one subject area, that is the customer. Similarly, for all the subject areas, we will have to write this. We know what is the primary key we are using. So just put this if condition here and add all subject areas. Once we have created this, then what we have to do is we need to export it. So this is my project. So I can go to the project and here I have an option for export. So export, if you go, we have an option to export as a jar file. So that is present in the Java jar file, and then click on next. Here, because we are using IDD user exit, we have to specifically say that the name of the jar file has to be user exit implementation.jar. So that is a fixed name basically that we have to use. We cannot use any other name. So the name has to be user implementation.jar itself. So for IDD user exit, that's a restriction. For hub user exit, there is no restriction. We can have any name. So once we have given the name basically and the path, we can click on the button. So which will create a jar file. So now, like once the jar is created, what we have to do is we need to go to the application, basically in the configuration, and select the application under which I want to import it. Go to import to existing IDD application. Select the configuration type as user exit implementation and browse and select your file. So like this is my file user exit implementation.jar. So I will select this and import that into the application. So once this is imported, one more change we have to do that we discussed is in the XML file, that is the BDD XML configuration.xml file. There also we need to make one change. So now that jar file is imported into the application, and if you want to see the jar file, what you can do export here. If I do export, now I will see the jar file also present here. So now the application is exported. If I open this, you can see the user exit implementation.jar is available here in the zip file. Previously it is not available. Normally once you import it, then only it will come here. Now the next thing that you have to do is open this bdd config.xml file and go to the subject area tag. So for example, I have already opened it here. So in this file, what we have to do is we need to go to the subject area tag, basically wherever the subject area tag is ending. So this is the subject area tag which is ending for customer. So just before the subject area ending tag, you have to put this user exit tag here. So here we have to put like user exit space class name equals to the fully qualified name of the class. So this is my class name, open handler, that is my class name, and this is the package name, com like dlg idd ue. This is my package name. So if I go to the Eclipse, there you can see that the package name. If you go on the top, this is the package name I'm using, like com.dlg.idd.ue. So that's the package name, and my class name is open handler. You have to give a fully qualified name of the class with the package name. Similarly, like if you have written any other thing also, like this is open handler. Similarly, if you have written save handler or any handler, you need to specify it here just before the subject area tag. And this like you have to do for all the subject areas, because if you don't give this one like user exit class name, what will happen? The user exit will not get called. So for example, like what we are trying to do is we are saying that once any user goes and edit a record, the first name and the last name column should be in an edit mode. User should not be allowed to edit those two columns because I am using as a primary key. So that will get fired only if you have selected, means use this option, user exit option. So for whichever like tables you have given that option in the code, like as of now we have only done for the customer, so I am just going and doing in the customer. If you have done for any other base object also, like address or category, subcategory, so you will have to go to all the subject areas and just copy paste this user exit code. And some place where you don't want to fire, just don't add this. So once you have added this code, you can again re-import it back, so that you already know how to import it back, this BDD configuration. Again, you need to go to the application here in the configuration screen, select your application, then import to existing IDD application, and you need to select the BDD configuration here as a configuration type and import your file. So now once we have done it, now we can go and test it. We have imported the jar file here. So we'll go and search for record. So there is only one record here in this table. So if I go and try to edit this record, you can see the first name and the last name is coming as read only. So like this basically we can do for all the subject areas. This is for customer, similarly for address and other columns, because I know that the first name and last name combination I'm using as a primary key, so I will just make it as read only, so that user doesn't modify these columns. And similarly, if you go and create it, I will see that I can edit these columns. So now you can see I can edit this column. This is editable. So only for update it is disabled. For insert it is enabled. So that's one of the user exit that we usually do when we are allowing user basically the data stewards to edit a record from the IDD, because they don't know what is the primary key which is used. I can use a single column, or I might have used multiple columns. So I need to make those columns as read only, so that in case it goes and tries to modify the record, IDD should not go and create a new record. It should just update the same record. So that's basically from the IDD user exit. So that process should be clear to you, at least the names, what are the 5 names or the plugins under which any user can write the code. And once anyone like a Java developer has written the code and he has given it to you, how do you upload and test into the IDD application? So that's basically the process. You have to go to the configuration and import the jar file, and after importing the jar file you have to extract your application, or basically export your application. Open the bddconfig.xml file, go to the subject area ending tag, and just before the tag you will have to add that user exit code. So once you add that and re-import that back into the application, then this user exit will be called automatically. So that's basically the process for the IDD user exit. And similarly for the hub user exit, so for the hub user exit, like I have written a post load user exit. So in the post load user exit, like I was trying to write like for one of the requirement, but I was not able to complete it here. So like in one of the project, there was a requirement that the customer wanted to know that how many times a record has been updated. Once it has been loaded into the MDM, they wanted to know how many times anyone has updated that record. So basically maintaining the versioning, how many times a record has been updated. So that they wanted to know. So for that, like we had written a post load user exit. So this is like the post load user exit. Package name, just using from MDM user exit as a package name here. And my class name is post load, which implements post load user exit. So as we have seen that so these are the methods that we have discussed, which starts from post landing. So post landing user exit is there for, and then we have a pre-stage and post-stage user exit. So these all are user exits are called automatically whenever we run a job. Basically, when we go and run the stage job, load job, these will be fired automatically. So basically, post landing, post stage, and pre-stage, these all are fired when we go and run the stage job. For load job, we have only one, that is post load user exit. And then after the load job, we have the match job. So for match, we have like post match, this is the pre-match user exit, and then post match user exit. And similarly for unmerge, merge and unmerge, the user exits are there. So these user exits, if you remember, that will be good, that what are the user exit. All the pre and post methods, just remember those names, that what are the user exits, and they will be called like automatically whenever we go and run the jobs. So here like I am writing for the post load user exit, because for the load process only we have post load, we don't preload user exit here. So in this what I am doing is I am checking like if here we can check whether it is an insert or update based on this condition. So action type dot value. So this will give you whether it is insert or update. So in the this value I will get insert or update values. So I'm just checking here if the argument is update, means if we are trying to update a particular record. In this case I have just written a direct update to the table, but usually we can call a put request here to update the data in the tables. So here I am checking if the customer, or sorry, if the table name equals to CB customer 2. Then I am writing an update query here, update table name dot x underscore xref set party version equals to party version plus 1, where pk source object equals to this one. So whichever record we are updating, I am just increasing the, there is a party version column, I am just increasing it by 1. So this is a direct update that I am making. We don't need to make a direct update. We can call a put request, where in the put request I can pass this value. So this is like the hub user exit. This both I will share on this, put on the shared path. So for the hub user exit, what we have to do, like once we have written this code, we need to go again to our project, do a right click, export, and similarly export as a jar file. And for this we can give any name. So the name is not specific. I can put any name for this hub user exit. So click on finish, the jar file will get created. And now what we have to do is we need to go to MDM. And in the user object registry. Okay, so it is already there. I can put here. So once you come to the user exits, you can click on this add button and give any description to it. And browse and select your file. So once you select, it will give you that for post load user exit you have written some logic and what is the class name. So the package name dot class name is available here. So it automatically picks it up and it knows that whenever you will go and run the load process, this will be fired automatically. So we don't have to put anywhere that when I'm going and running the load job, you have to fire it. Every time we fire, means run the load job, this user exit will get fired and whatever is the code will get implemented. So we have just put a conditional check that if table name equals to CB customer, then only fire it. So for whichever table we need, we can put that condition and fire it. So now like we can go to the batch viewer and do a stage job and the load job. So let me check it. Okay, so data is not there, so we'll run the stage and the load job. So connection is closed. The data was already there. One record is already there. It was like the connection was broken. So this is the record. So here if you see the party version is there. Party version is showing currently as 2. So if you go and try to update the record here, so just do a force update basically. We'll go here to the load job, do a force update and click on execute batch. So it is showing like updated xref. So xref always gets updated whenever we do a force update. So we just have to check whether the value has changed or not. From party version was 2. Now if we check here, you can see party version is coming as 3. So that is basically an update has happened based on the user exit, because we have not made any change. Just whenever we are trying to update this particular record, the version is getting changed. So that is basically the post-load user exit and the condition that I told, that what was our requirement that we had to capture, like how many times a particular record is getting updated. So that we had to capture, so that they know that how many times which record has been updated mostly by the data stewards. So for that, like we had written this user exit, which was just updating this version column. And version is a different thing. We have already discussed about the timelines. So that is a different thing. This is a different one. So that's basically the user exits, like what we had discussed, and like just practically how we have to do it. So only like 2 things are remaining here. That is basically discussion of the interview questions and the project. So that we are planning to give some gap. So you can also let me know, like I think many people are here, so we were thinking to put that on weekend so that you have some time so you can go through all the things. So basically a doubt clarification session where you can just go through all the things that we have discussed, and you can ask questions, like whatever questions you have in your mind or any clarification that you need. And at that time, like at least if you go through the course, then only it's good to go through the interview questions as well. So it is already there. You can just go through the questions and the project also, so that if you have any questions, we can discuss that. So you can let me know like which will be a better time where we can go through, because we were thinking to put that on like 22nd and 23rd, that is Saturday and Sunday, this Saturday Sunday in IST timings, same time 6:30, because that on those days we will have more time basically, so I can go take more time and whatever questions you have, we can discuss that. So either 22nd on 23 or 29 or 30, 1 week gap, and then we can have. So whatever is feasible for you all, where you can go through all the things so that we can discuss. Anything, Suresh, Sri and George?
Yeah, no, Vinay.
What should we, I'm just asking, what will be the better for you? You want on 22nd, 23rd or 29th, 30th? You would need some time to go through all the things so that we can discuss.
Yeah, 29:30 would be better because we'll get a week.
Okay. Because mostly the course is completed, so now it is on you, like if you can go, everyone can go through whatever we have discussed and just make a note of what are the things you have any questions. So that is not a problem. If you have to, any topic is also there, we can go through a topic also if you have any want any clarification in that, or we can discuss specific doubts. So, George, is it fine for you? 29th and 30th?
Yeah, that probably will be best.
Okay. So that 29th and 30th IST timing basically, so 6:30. So there, because it's Saturday and Sunday for me, so I can take a longer session also without any problem. So that's why I'm proposing on the weekends, basically my weekend. So otherwise, any questions you have as of now?
Yeah, we need to digest all the information.
Okay.
Yeah, it was quite challenging in the past few sessions.
Yeah, because mostly that is a SIF part. SIF part is basically the Java part. So that's why this is not required. It's not mandatory that you should know this SIF part, but just you should know the process. Like, because someone might ask you that, okay, you have not written a user exit, that is fine. But if I write a user exit and give it to you, what you will do with this? So at least you should know that if I get a jar file, should I put that into MDM and how do I put it? So that process should be clear. It's not mandatory that you have to know a Java code or you have to write a Java code. So you can just don't focus on this part, SIF part. Other than the SIF part, just mainly focus on the MDM part, IDD, and the HM. These are the three things. The SIF you can skip it. Just the process is there. If you understood the process, that is sufficient enough. Because not everyone will be writing a Java code. Usually, like Java developers are there in the companies. So in case there are some requirements, we give it to them. They write the code and give us the jar file. So we upload that into the MDM and the IDD and test it. So I've been like working on this since long time. Initially, I was also not knowing as such safe part, but because I have been working on this since a long time and I have been seeing these codes continuously, so now I am also able to write the codes. So it's not mandatory that everyone is not writing the code. In my company also, not the MDM people are not writing the code. We have separate Java developer, and where in case requirement comes, we give it to him and he writes the code and give it to us. So safe part, you can, as of now, don't focus on the safe part, just focus on mainly on the MDM, IDD and HM. These are the three main things. So just try to focus on this in these 2 weeks, and then whatever questions you have, we can go through it again. If you want to cover it something, then also we can go, because we will have some time on the weekends. So we can do that also, and whatever project and interview questions, if you have some questions, we can discuss that. Otherwise, the questions are there in the shared path. We can go through that also. So I will ask tech classes to send a mail to everyone for this like doubt clarification session that will happen on 29th and 30th of October. And in the meantime, if you are practicing and if you have any questions, let me know. Please do send a mail. I will look into that and let you know. Okay, then we'll end the session, today's session, and we'll meet on 29th and 30th of October, 6:30 IST times.
Oh, thank you, Vinay.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, thanks everyone. Bye. Yeah, so if you have any questions? Okay.